In Harjan Station, a young boy and a talking cat are trying to get off a train, but the boy, named Natsu Dragneel, suffers from motion sickness. The train conductor asks if he is alright, to which Happy, the talking cat, states that this happens a lot. The two are apparently looking for someone they call Salamander. Happy is able to get off the train, but Natsu, because of his sickness, doesn't and departs along with the train. Lucy, using her sex appeal, Lucy tries to seduce the magic shop owner elsewhere. A blonde girl, named Lucy Heartfilia, is looking for a magic store and is surprised to find out that there's only one store in town. The shopkeeper wants to sell her a color S, but instead, she finds the key of Nikora, the Canny's miner. Its normal price is 20,000 jewel, but Lucy, using her sex appeal, tries to knock off a little of the price. She is able to knock off only 1,000 jewel, and infuriated, she then asks herself if her sex appeal is worth only that. Nearby, a large crowd is gushing over someone. This someone is the so-called Salamander. Lucy runs over too, because of the fire magic the Salamander is supposed to have, a magic you can't buy in stores. Natsu and Happy are traveling in direction of the crowd too. They hope the Salamander is Igneel, as they doubt a fire dragon would be anyone but him. Bora gives Natsu his autograph. The Salamander shows himself. Every female in the crowd seems captivated by his appearance, Lucy as well. When Natsu comes within the circle to look for him, he is disappointed as this Salamander is not the one he was looking for. He leaves, and a bunch of girls attacks him, ordering him to be kinder to the Salamander. He offers an autograph to Natsu, but Natsu doesn't want it, much to the girls' chagrin. Salamander then flies away, inviting everyone to his boat, where a party will be held. Lucy's excitement. Lucy talking about joining a guild. Lucy invites Natsu and Happy to lunch with her, since it was their interruption that broke the spell. Salamander was using a charm spell whose magic breaks once the victim knows what is happening. She tells Natsu that she is a mage herself, even though she hasn't joined a guild yet. Guilds are places where mages gather to share information and take jobs, so she wants to be in one in order to be called a full-fledged mage. She is confident that once she joins one, she will be able to take jobs and get paid. Lucy then asks Natsu who they were looking for, and Natsu replies that it is Igneel, the Salamander, although he doesn't look like a salamander. He doesn't because he is a dragon. Lucy is shocked to hear that even in the world of magic, dragons are extremely difficult to meet. She makes them realize that a dragon wouldn't be in the middle of a town, much to Happy's and Natsu's shock. She pays and then leaves. When she turns back, she finds them kneeled over, thanking her for her kindness. They say that payment was not needed for the food, as they weren't trying to save her, and Natsu wants her to have Salamander's autograph. Lucy responds that no one would want that. Lucy confronts Bora in the park. Lucy is reading Sorcerer magazine. She finds some information on Fairy Tail and sees a photoshoot of Murajane Strauss, a mage of Fairy Tail, wondering herself how does one become a member of said guild. Salamander suddenly comes out of the bushes and tells her he is a member of Fairy Tail, and he invites her personally to his party. This way, he buys her mind and even goes as far as to tell her that he will talk to the master to get her in. Lucy happily agrees, and they decide to meet at the party. In the evening, Natsu and Happy are watching Salamander's ship when they hear some girls talk about him as a member of Fairy Tail. Natsu is angered by this, and they decide to go to the party. There, Lucy is having a toast with Salamander, and he offers to give her some drink. However, Lucy notices a magic called sleep magic and confronts him about it. Being discovered, Salamander brings out his men, all carrying unconscious women. He refers to the girls as his merchandise, and Lucy grabs her keys, but Salamander knocks them out of her hands. He catches them and throws them into the sea. Aquarius, when she was first summoned, Aquarius is summoned crying. Lucy loses faith in Fairy Tail and tells Salamander he is the worst kind of mage. Natsu then barges in, and Lucy is taken away by Happy, who can fly. Salamander attacks, but Happy evades everything and then runs out of magic and falls into the ocean. Meanwhile, Natsu is getting beaten by Salamander's men because of his motion sickness. Lucy, who found her keys in the sea, summons Aquarius, the water bearer, one of the strongest spirits she had. She explains her powers as a celestial spirit mage, which allows her to summon spirits from an alternate dimension. She orders Aquarius to blast the ship to the shore, but Aquarius has other plans. She calmly tells Lucy that the next time Lucy drops her keys, she will kill her and loads her urn with water, then shoots. The water takes the ship to the shore, but Lucy and Happy are caught in the wave. When asked why she was caught in the wave as well, Aquarius states she was aiming at Lucy, not the ship, and she failed by destroying it. She then asks not to be summoned, as she will be having a vacation with her boyfriend. Natsu, Lucy, and Happy running from Rune Knights, running from the army to Fairy Tail back to the ship. Natsu is no longer sick, rather he is angered. He reveals himself to be a mage of Fairy Tail, and they should not pretend to be him. One of the sailors refers to Salamander as Bora, revealing his true identity as Bora the Prominence. Natsu then goes face to face with him and is hit with fire, which he eats. Happy explains that flames don't work on Natsu, and Natsu uses his fire dragon's roar on everyone, which makes them realize that he is the true salamander. Happy explains that his lungs breathe fire, his scales dissolve flames, and his claws wrap in flames. This magic makes the user's body turn into a dragon's, an ancient kind of magic, one that was taught to Natsu by Igniel. Using his fire dragon's iron fist, he blows Bora away and along with it, a part of the city. When the guards come to take him, he grabs Lucy and runs, telling her to come with him in order to join the guild, and the three of them run towards Fairy Tail. In Era, the Magic Council's headquarters, the council is having a discussion about the Fairy Tail Guild and its destructive nature. The majority of the council thinks that the members of Fairy Tail are idiots, with the exception of Seagrain, who apparently likes them. Eventually, the council is left with a dilemma since Fairy Tail is destructive, but at the same time a strong and competent guild. For the time being, the council opts to leave them be. Meanwhile, Natsu and Lucy arrive at Fairy Tail and Natsu immediately kicks the door open while screaming to everyone that they've returned. The mage who had informed Natsu of the appearance of Salamander in Harjan Town immediately shouts at him, commenting on the damage he caused to the town. Natsu responds by kicking him across the hall while shouting to him that the salamander they found was fake. Normal fight in FT. A fight in the Fairy Tail Guild. The mage that was kicked then screams that it wasn't his problem, and in the blink of an eye, a fight throughout the whole guild is raging. Grey Fullbuster is introduced as the mage with extreme stripping problems while he goes to beat Natsu up but is stopped by Kana Alberona, who is presented as the ultimate drinker of Fairy Tail. She points out that Grey has stripped again. Elfman Strauss and Loke, other members of the guild, enter the fight too. Murrajane Strauss is also introduced while Lucy points out that the guild does not have one single sane person. The fight is stopped by Makarov, Fairy Tail's guildmaster, by means of his giant magic. After crushing Natsu under his foot, Makarov sees Lucy and transforms himself back to his original form as a small old man. He greets Lucy, then jumps up on the second floor of the building. From there, he shows the angry reports from the council about them, but then decides to burn them and throws them at Natsu to eat, stating that they shouldn't be afraid of those watchful eyes from above while Fairy Tail cheers. Lucy later gets her Fairy Tail stamp to confirm that she is an official member and goes to show it to Natsu, who is standing in front of the request board looking for a job. He overhears Romeo Conbolt talking to Makarov about his father not coming home for a week, but Makarov suggests that he should go home and wait patiently for him to come home because Macau can take care of himself. Natsu hits the request board and quietly goes after Macau. Lucy wonders why Natsu became so upset, and Murrajane explains that Natsu probably saw himself in Romeo. Murrajane also tells Lucy about Natsu's life. Long ago, when Natsu was a child, he was discovered by a red dragon. Mira further explains that the dragon was his foster father who decided to take him in. He taught Natsu about languages, culture, and even magic. But one day, the dragon left Natsu and never returned. Lucy realizes that the dragon was Igniel, and Murrajane tells her that Natsu lives for the day to see Igniel again. Natsu, Lucy, and Happy at Mount Hakob during summer. Lucy, Natsu, and Happy arriving at Mount Hakob later. Lucy and Natsu are sitting in a wagon on the way to the mountain where Macau was supposed to do his job. On the way there, Natsu gets motion sick again. The wagon later stops and the driver explains that he cannot go any further into the mountain. Lucy complains about the storm and low temperature of Mount Hakob and calls one of her spirits, Horologem, to encase her and keep her warm. They can't hear Lucy, so Horologem translates for her. She asks why Macau would take a job that involved going to these mountains. Natsu explains that these mountains were inhabited by powerful creatures that Macau had to fight off, called Vulcans. Natsu screams for Macau, but a Vulcan ambushes him. The Vulcan then senses the smell of Lucy and happily kidnaps her. He puts Lucy in his cave and starts to dance around her. After a while, Lucy's spirit disappears as he can only protect her for a limited amount of time. However, Natsu comes to the rescue but slips on the ice, which Lucy refers to as a pathetic entrance. He asks the Vulcan where Macau is and the Vulcan points at a hole in the wall. Natsu goes to take a closer look but instead gets kicked down the mountain by the Vulcan. Lucy screams after him and calls out another spirit, Taurus. The first thing he does is point out that Lucy has a nice body and then goes to fight the Vulcan for Lucy, but before he can inflict any damage, Natsu comes back and kicks him in the face, causing Taurus to fall unconscious as Natsu thought that he was another monster. Natsu beats a Vulcan. Natsu beats the last Vulcan. The Vulcan takes Taurus' axe and fights Natsu with it. Natsu slips again and just barely manages to block a hit from the Vulcan's axe. He melts the axe and then eats it to get more energy. He uses the fire dragon's iron fist to finish the Vulcan off. The Vulcan transforms back to a wounded Macau. Macau thinks that it's pathetic how he managed to take out 19 Vulcans, but was taken over by the last one. However, Natsu assures him that 19 is a number he can brag about. Natsu, Lucy, and Macao return home. Lucy, Natsu, and Macao are finally back in town. Romeo sits on stair steps while remembering the other boys teasing him for his dad and fairy tale about being mages who sat around and did nothing all day but drink. He remembers that those bullies are the reason why he forced his dad to go out on a job. As he cries tears of regret, he is interrupted by Natsu shouting his name, and a happy reunion between Macao and Romeo takes place. Romeo yells his joyous thanks to Natsu, Happy, and Lucy for bringing his dad back home. In her new apartment, Lucy Heartfilia wakes up and begins her daily routines. As she enters her room, she sees Natsu, Dragneel, and Happy sitting on the sofa. She quickly kicks the two into the wall and begins to lecture them about common courtesy. Natsu thinks that she is being a little harsh, but in the end doesn't seem to care much. The two further disturb the peace in Lucy's apartment, Happy by sharpening his claws on the walls while Natsu snoops around Lucy's private papers, which earns him a kick in the face by Lucy. Lucy makes a cup of tea and says that Natsu should go home, but Natsu quickly ignores this. He asks her about her celestial spirit keys. Lucy shows him her current keys, a total of 6, with 3 of the gold zodiac while 3 of them are the ordinary silver keys. She introduces each key to them while explaining the difference between the silver and the gold keys. Lucy and Plu. Lucy, considering Plu as her pet. Lucy then remembers that she hasn't made a contract with her newly bought celestial spirit, Nicora, and allows the two to watch her make a contract with it. She then summons Nicora, the Canis Minor, who is a small white bear-like creature with a pointed nose. Natsu and Happy think that it is utterly ridiculous, but Lucy thinks that it's cute and explains that it doesn't take much energy to call out and therefore is popular as a pet. Natsu sits down and continues drinking his tea while Lucy makes up a contract with Nicora, asking for the days which Nicora can be summoned. Natsu thinks that it looks easy, but Lucy explains that the contract is very important and that a celestial spirit mage never breaks a promise. She then comes up with the name Plu for Nicora, which both Natsu and Happy consider weird. Yes, he has his own goal. Natsu handing Lucy the job poster. Plu makes gestures and movements that no one but Natsu understands. Natsu then observes Lucy for a while and asks her to form a team with him. Lucy thinks that it is a great idea and Natsu says that he already has a job picked. Lucy doesn't mind and takes the poster from Natsu. She reads the contract and discovers that they get 200,000 jewel just for stealing a certain book. As she reads on, she discovers that the person they are going to steal from is a perverted old man who is recruiting blonde maids. Lucy realizes that she has been tricked, while Natsu reminds her that celestial mages never break a promise. Lucy made Lucy's maid clothes. Meanwhile, back at the guild, Team Shadowgear are looking for the request about stealing a book, but Murajane informs them that Natsu already took it. Levy Magarden is disappointed with herself, but Makarov tells her that it was better that she did not take the job since the reward has been raised to 2 million jewel, much to everyone's surprise. Elsewhere, Team Natsu is making their way to Shiratsum town. As soon as they arrive in the destination, Natsu gets hungry and suggests they eat at a restaurant, but Lucy apparently has something else to do, so she leaves Happy and Natsu at the restaurant. Later, while Natsu and Happy are eating, Lucy comes back in a maid outfit. Natsu and Happy are shocked since they only meant the maid issue as a joke. Lucy overhears them and gets annoyed. The group later arrives at the house of their client, KB Melon. KB explains that Everloo is the one who has the book at the moment and he says that he wants the book destroyed. They are shocked when they hear the news that the 200,000 jewel reward has been up to 2 million jewel. When asked by Lucy why he wanted the book destroyed, KB simply replies that he cannot allow the book to exist. Lucy, in her maid outfit, stands at the gate to the mansion when a giant maid comes up from the ground, saying that Lucy must be here due to her master's request for maids. Everloo himself pops up after the giant maid to inspect Lucy, but he rejects her on the grounds that she is ugly. Lucy goes back to Natsu, who's standing in the woods not far away. With their initial plan a failure, they decide to go with their next one, which means going in the mansion by force. Natsu beats Vanish Brothers. Natsu beats the Vanish Brothers not long after managing to sneak in. 4 of Everloo's maids attack them, but are scared off by the mask Happy picked up in a storeroom upon entering the mansion. The giant maid, Virgo, jumps on Natsu, but he counterattacks and she is defeated. The group continues their search and finds the library where the book should be located. By accident, Natsu finds the book quickly and is ready to burn it when he gets stopped by Lucy, who sees that the book is written by Kemu Zeilon and she states that she is a huge fan and has to read it. They are interrupted by Everloo, who wants the book back. Lucy ignores him and begins to read the book. Annoyed, Everlou calls out the vanished brothers just as Lucy discovers that the book holds a secret and runs away with it to know more. Everlou follows Lucy and Happy leaves to back her up while Natsu is left to fight the vanished brothers. He has some trouble with them at first as they are anti-fire specialists, but as soon as he gets to eat some fire he blows the entire mansion up, along with the vanished brothers. With Lucy caught by Everlou, he orders her to tell him the secret of the book Daybreak and threatens to break her arms if she doesn't tell. However, Happy arrives and saves Lucy. They continue their fight until Everlou summons Virgo, who surprisingly appears with Natsu Dragneel. Lucy, together with Natsu, finish up the fight and come out victorious. Unfortunately, all the holes that Everlou dug cause the mansion to give way and it collapses. Natsu, Lucy, and Happy make it outside and Natsu says that Lucy should be proud for destroying the mansion in keeping with the fairy tale tradition of causing mayhem. Daybreak's magic, Daybreak's letters rearranging, they bring the book to KB Melon and Lucy says that she understands why he would want to destroy it. It is to protect his father's honor. KB admits the truth of Kemusaelon being his father and that he was angry at him for being gone for 3 years and never contacted his family. When his father came home, he swore to never write again and cut his writing hand off. He died soon after and KB's anger turned to remorse. This made him want to destroy the book to save his father's honor as a great writer. He lights a match, but suddenly the wind blows it out, the book glows and the letters on the cover rearrange from Daybreak to read Dear KABY. Then all the other words start to change and Lucy reveals that the book was actually written for KB. Natsu tells KB that he doesn't owe them anything since their job was to destroy the book and they did not do it. Lucy protests, but Natsu tells her that it would damage Fairy Tail's good name if they took the money. Besides, KB didn't have the money to begin with. He was just using the house to try and fool them. He is really an average man who just wanted to keep his father's honor intact. On the way back, Lucy continues to grimace, accidentally revealing that the papers Natsu found in her apartment are for a novel she's writing. Urza and Lucy's imagination of Urza, Natsu, Happy, and Lucy are taking a shortcut to return to Fairy Tail when Natsu spots someone in the bushes. Natsu attacks it, but Grey Fullbuster comes out giving excuses as to why he was hiding. The two of them get into a fight and when things calm down, Grey tells them that Urza Scarlet is returning to Fairy Tail and they need to hurry up and return. Natsu, Grey, and Happy tell Lucy about Urza, how she is the strongest mage in Fairy Tail and how she can split a mountain in half with one kick, which makes Lucy imagine Urza as a giant. On the way back, they are ambushed by a group of mages who want to eat Happy, but Natsu and Grey quickly defeat them. They tie them up to a tree and Natsu and Grey continue to argue. One of the captured mages mentions something about Lullaby, but a giant hand shadow pulls the tree underground along with the mages who were tied to it. Elsewhere, the citizens of Magnolia look on in amazement as a young woman in armor walks through town carrying a large horn. Natsu Dragneel, Lucy Heartfilia, and many of the other members of the Fairy Tail Guild need money and are looking over the job board. Murajane explains to Lucy the way the guilds work and the leadership breakdown from the Magic Council to the Guild Master League when Lucy asks about the regular meeting Makarov had gone to. Murajane adds that there were dark guilds that don't adhere to the rules and regulations of the regular guilds and they are often involved with criminal activities. While Natsu and Lucy talk about getting a job as a team, Natsu ends up arguing with Grey Fullbuster. Urza arriving in Fairy Tail, however, Urza Scarlet arrives in the guild, causing Natsu and Grey to start acting buddy-buddy all of a sudden as well as shocking the rest of the guild into propriety. Lucy is surprised by the sudden change in the atmosphere caused by Urza's presence. It seems it's because Urza is one of the strongest Fairy Tail mages and has beaten both Natsu and Grey to a pulp before. Urza asks Natsu and Grey to help her on the next mission. They agree in order to stay in her good graces. Lucy also comes along at the insistence of Murajane to keep Natsu and Grey from fighting all the time. Erigor the Shinigami Erigor, Ace of Eisenwald is discussed by Urza once they are aboard the train. Urza punches the motion-sick Natsu to knock him out and make the trip easier for him. She then tells the others about the mission and how she came to know it from overhearing the name Erigor and overhearing the discussion of Eisenwald members. They are to face off against another dark guild, Eisenwald, that is planning something evil with an item called Lullaby and they must stop them. Urza plans to head straight into Eisenwald, but since she feels that she cannot take on a whole guild by herself, she asks for the others' assistance. Natsu versus Kejama. They reach Onibus Town and they suddenly realize they forgot to get Natsu off the train. On the train, Natsu is feeling sick from the moving vehicle when he is approached by an Eisenwald member, Kejama. He kicks Natsu in the face and says that they call the registered guild members flies. Natsu starts to use his Fire Dragon Slayer magic, but gets sick. Kejama uses his shadow magic and knocks Natsu across the train car. The train suddenly stops due to the fact that Urza pulls the emergency stop back at the station so they can catch up to the train. Now that it stopped moving, Natsu gets up and sees a strange-looking flute that has a skull on top with 3 eyes. Kageyama looks panicked because Natsu saw the flute and then he defends himself against Natsu's attack. Suddenly, the conductor announces that the stop was a false alarm. At first, Natsu wants to take the battle outside. But when the train starts to move again, he jumps out and just happens to hit heads with Gray as Urza drives their magic 4-wheeler to catch up to the train. Magic 4-wheeler team Natsu heading towards Eisenwald on a magic 4-wheeler after Natsu and Gray come to their senses. Natsu tells them about what happened on the train and Urza is mad at him for not stopping Kageyama. Natsu tells them about the flute he saw and Lucy is shocked as she has read about the flute, Lullaby. She explains to them that Lullaby is the song of death. Its tune can siphon the life of those who hear it, a mass death curse. Urza steps on the gas of the magic 4-wheeler and rushes towards Eisenwald. Kageyama reaches Kanugi Station and all the passengers are evacuated from the train by the Eisenwald Guild who claims that the train is their property. Kageyama presents the lullaby to the ace of their guild, Ariger. With the lullaby in hand, Ariger orders for Eisenwald to commence their operation. In Clover Town, the Guild Masters League is having their annual meeting. Bob, the master of Blue Pegasus Guild, and Goldmine, master of Quattro Cerberus Guild, discuss with Makarov the actions and the members of Fairy Tail Guild, with Makarov being very happy about his guild. A bird named Pai-chan arrives with a message for Makarov. As he opens the letter, Murajan's projection appears and she informs him of Team Natsu's formation. She thinks this is the guild's strongest team and wanted him to know of this. After she ends her letter, the master is left speechless and terrified, thinking that those guys could accidentally destroy an entire city together. Looking from above the railway, Urza and the others try to understand the reasons why Eisenwald took a train. They learn from the guards lined up below that the army has been activated to capture Eisenwald. Urza then drives off to go after Eisenwald. In the meantime, Ariger is chastising Kageyama for allowing a fly to see the lullaby and leave. They concur that they must teach the fairies a lesson at the Ashibana station, while Urza is driving extra fast to catch up to them. Inside the magic 4-wheeler, Happy is trying to remember something related to Lucy Heartfilia, but can't. Natsu, like always, is suffering from his motion sickness. They arrive at the Ashibana station, only to see that a large crowd has gathered. Urza demands information from the officials, and when they fail to meet her expectations, she knocks them out. Rune Knights easily defeated by Eisenwald. They enter the station and see that the whole army has been incapacitated. Urza believes they had no hope since they were facing an entire mage guild. Eventually, they meet with Ariger and the rest of Eisenwald. He then explains his plan to Urza. He wanted to broadcast the lullaby in order to punish everyone hearing it, because of their sin of not knowing that there are people not having the same rights and safety they have. Lucy argues that this way he won't get his rights back. But Ariger doesn't want rights anymore, he wants power, as those with power are able to rewrite history and rule the future. Kageyama then proclaims that they won't see the age of the Dark Guilds, because what they will see is the afterlife, and proceeds with attacking Lucy. She is protected by Natsu, who got over his motion sickness in order to fight Kageyama. Ariger thinks that the fairies fell into his trap and leaves. Urza in HWA. Urza uses her magic to defeat members of Eisenwald. Urza orders Natsu and Gray to follow Ariger, and the two are subsequently followed by Kageyama and Rayul. Urza and Lucy are left to fight against the whole guild. Urza fights using her equip, the night type of magic, while Lucy summons Cancer, the giant crab. When Urza sees that many are still standing, she requips into her Heaven's Wheel armor and uses Circle Sword to wipe out what's left of the Dark Guild. She sends Lucy after the very last mage, Karaka, who got intimidated by Urza. When Lucy leaves, the fatigue finally catches up to Urza. Gray fights Rayul. Gray versus Rayul. Meanwhile, Gray and Natsu split up, each taking a different route. Gray goes to the broadcast room as he suspects Ariger might be there, and is welcomed by Rayul. During their fight, Urza exits the room and informs every bystander that they should leave, as dark magic is being used and can endanger their very lives. In doing so, she meets with Ariger himself, who has created a wind wall to trap everyone inside. Urza attempts escape, but fails. Ariger leaves shortly after. Inside, Rayul explains to Gray that this was a trap for the flies. Their real objective was the annual meeting of the Masters. With the fairies out of the way, and the Masters not knowing what is happening, their plan would surely succeed. Gray is furious and beats Rayul by freezing him, saying that there are more fearsome guilds than the Dark Ones. At the same time, Natsu is being followed by Kageyama.